One big issue coming up. The president gave the White House released the outline of the president's budget yesterday. $54 billion more for the military. But Sean Spicer told us at our briefing yesterday that the president is going to be true to his promise of not touching Social Security. Nancy Altman joins us, who is founding co-director of Social Security Works. Hi, Nancy. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how soon before Social Security runs out of money, goes bust, and everybody's left high and dry?
Oh, no.
Social Security is the most conservatively financed program in the government. It currently has a $2.8 trillion surplus and is projected to have a $31 billion surplus just in 2017 alone. When you go out 30 or 40 years, it's about 90%, 85% funded. So we need to bring in some more revenue. But that has been a campaign to undermine confidence. Social Security is quite secure and quite well
Do you believe
funded.
Donald Trump when he says he's not going to touch it?
Unfortunately, I have my doubts because if you look at his history before running for president, he talked about it as a Ponzi scheme. And he said around 2011 that you got to be careful, though, because if you run on cutting Social Security, you're going to lose. And he knows the politics of it, but I'm not sure that he believes in the program.
So I know it's going to be there for an old geezer like me, but how about a young buck like John Allen here? I mean,
Thank you for that description.
Social Security is current funded, which means that the monies going into Social Security are mostly paid out in benefits. So as long as people are working and paying their Social Security contributions or premiums, there will be money. That's why Social Security has such a small shortfall even out 20, 30, 40 years. As long as people are working, we can afford Social Security.
so John, relax.
Yeah, I'm so relaxed about retirement.
As you should be. That's the point of Social Security, is a peace of mind, security that's been lost. But the idea is when you're young, you should be thinking about your career, your family, all kinds of things, not retirement.
So here's something I don't understand that maybe you can help with. At a certain point during the year, a lot of people hit, not everybody, but a lot of people hit a cap where they stop paying Social Security taxes. And it seems to me that, I have trouble understanding why it is that somebody who makes a couple $100,000 a year stops paying Social Security
What is
tax.
it,
$127,200.
$127,000. They stop paying Social Security tax in October or November,
Sometimes,
December. On day one, if you're rich enough, January
sometimes
1st.
really, yeah.
if you're Bill Gates, you probably stop paying by your coffee break on January 1.
Right.
Most people pay 52 weeks a year. They have the money withdrawn from their paycheck, every paycheck, because they earn below, 94% of Americans earn below that $127,000. So as a consequence, most people don't even know that cap is there. But for example, people on Capitol, the Congress who pays into Social Security, they stop paying in the spring. Millionaires stop paying on February 1. Some people stop paying in October, as you say. The easiest way to bring more revenue into Social Security is to scrap the cap. That's what Senator Sanders,
the cap.
Many Democrats
Or
have
at least
proposed
lift
that.
the cap, right?
Well, there are all kinds of things you can do, but there's no reason that everyone doesn't pay in 52 weeks a year.
This is one of the few programs that's like really essentially regressive.
It's regressive in the revenue, and if you scrap the cap, all you do is make it proportionate. You don't even make it progressive. I mean, I would argue, given all the income inequality, that we should be dedicating the estate tax to Social Security or financial speculations tax, finding a new source of progressive revenue. But at the very least, as you say, it's a regressive structure in its financing now, and that should be changed.
What are you hear about Social Security that it has done more than any other program to lift people out of poverty in this country? What are the facts there?
That's right. Just this year alone, it's lifting about 20 million people out of poverty, including 1 million children. People don't realize that Social Security is the nation's largest children's program because of the survivor, the life insurance, and the disability insurance it provides. It was not it's not intended to be an anti-poverty program. The idea is that it prevents poverty rather than alleviates poverty. But in fact,
but the fact
it does raise 20 million people out of poverty every year.
Without Social Security, these are seniors who would be living in poverty.
Well, let me tell you an even more staggering figure. If Social Security were to disappear tomorrow, about 50%, almost 1 out of 2 seniors would have incomes below the poverty line.
Really?
That is right. That the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities has done the work, and which is about what it was prior to the Depression.
Can I ask, to what extent is that a function of seniors no longer working? I mean, some of those that are
or
in the 50% that are not
saving,
in poverty.
not having.
But as I say, for those that are not in poverty, some of them have saved over time, and they may not have a high income, but they have savings or things that they can liquidate. Social
Security. Here's another staggering statistic. Social Security provides half or more of the income to 2/3 of seniors. So the idea is we have traditional pensions that have been disappearing. You really can't save adequately for retirement. The idea that at 65 or 70 or whenever you retire, no matter how long you work, if you have the good fortune to live to 105, you're going to outlive your savings. You cannot outlive Social Security. It's an annuity that follows you through your retirement years. So certainly as you age, you lose, you spend down your other assets, and you haven't had this income coming in. And that's what Social Security provides. That's why virtually every other country in the world has the same system we have. Their benefits are higher. And we at Social Security Works thinks it's time to expand benefits. But it provides a basic source of economic security that you can't get any other way.
So people anticipate this clash between Donald Trump and Paul Ryan when it comes to Social Security. Ryan wants to privatize or? Well,
he used to say he wanted to privatize and put private accounts on top and so forth. Really, he's gotten a little cagier because he gets the politics of it, and the same is true.
Now he's speaker.
You touch that third rail a couple times, and
exactly
you start backing off.
Exactly. There's a reason it's called the third rail, and it's because the base of the Republican Party overwhelmingly supports Social Security. The leadership, the elites in Washington, really don't represent their constituents. So I was actually surprised, but it shows how eager they are. Basically, Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid show government at its best, that they show programs that work, that affect the lives of all of us. And they hate that because their ideology is the private sector is always better. The problem is their base loves Social Security like the rest of us. So the clash, I think, is how outspoken to be about it, how direct to be about it. But if they're going to increase defense spending, they're going to do these other things. They're talking. I think it's ideology more than anything else, and they're going to have to figure out how. I'm hoping that the American people will rise up against this and say, no way, we didn't vote.
Again,
we didn't vote.
There are no details maybe on either side, but Sean Spicer at the briefing yesterday was asked, is the president going to stick to his promise that he's not going to touch Social Security either for people who are on it now or about to get on it or in the future? They didn't talk about increasing benefits, but they're not going to cut benefits. And Sean Spicer said he's going to live up to his promise to the American people.
Well, but there was a detail in that caught my eye, and that was that you are correct. Donald Trump.
I'm not saying I believe him.
No,
I'm saying what they're saying.
But what he said, Donald Trump has said consistently he's not going to cut Social Security, period, including or Medicare or Medicaid for that matter.
Period.
Sean Spicer said for current retirees, which is part of the old playbook. It sounded like the Donald Trump because he said he's not going back on his promise. Donald Trump never said that, and that is part of the Republican playbook to say, hey, you greedy geezers, don't worry about it. You've got yours. But younger people, you're in trouble. And our attitude, and the attitude actually of most seniors, are they care about their children and their grandchildren. They don't want to see the program cut for anyone. So they're already trying to change the promise that was made.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to get
I've
people
got mine,
who haven't
John.
got.
Screw you.
Wow. How long you been on Social Security there, Bill? Starting to sound like the guy screaming, "Get off my lawn."
Pull up the gangplank.
But I think that's such a great point, and it ties into your point, which is if you haven't gotten Social Security yet, you don't know what the value of it is. You're paying in. So Paul Ryan and those guys are like, we're going to get these voters that are like 55 and below to turn on the people that are getting benefits now. But the people that have benefits now are the ones going, people behind me ought to have this.
There was an article that you can find online that was written actually in 1983 called Social Security Reform, a Leninist Strategy. And it was a way to, and Google that and you will find it. And it sounds like the Republican playbook. And one of the ideas was tell people 55 and over they'll be fine. Divide the coalition is the idea. And that's what they're trying to do. But the truth is that Social Security is a program that you earn those benefits. And if you've been paying in for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, really at your age 50, you're not going to get your Social Security. That's just wrong.
Well, I hear that, and sometimes Democrats use that argument, but it is true, isn't it? This is not a gift the government is giving you. This is something that you earned.
Exactly. Right? It is part of your deferred compensation. It's as if the government...
So you're putting money in every paycheck, and then that's earning interest.
That's right. It's basically a pension plan.
But people are also pulling out more than they put in. Yes.
Not always.
Not
mean, my late sister paid in her whole life. Got cancer at 60. Her children were grown. She'd been paying in at the maximum. So it's an insurance program. That's why they have actuaries that look at it. Yeah. Some people live to 110. Some people die at 54. So it's insurance, not savings.
So this is one of the big battles that we'll be watching. Nancy Altman in the front lines there from Social Security Works. It's socialsecurityworks.org. You got your work cut out, Nancy.
Unfortunately, we do. But thank you.
Every election.
This is part of it too. So thank you for having a segment about Social Security.
Not enough people talk about it. I think this was really enlightening for a lot of people who didn't know all the ins and outs of it.
No,
seriously.
Absolutely. Extremely important. It is a great program, probably the most efficient, the most effective government program of all. Thanks for what you're doing, Nancy.
Thanks
for coming in.